Hey everyone, it's been a while since I started drawing, and so it's going to feel good to get back with it. I kind of had a few off days, just really not feeling the best. Yeah, I just had a couple of days, kind of feel down and just worn out, real under the weather, I guess. But now I'm feeling better, so I'm excited to draw Clementine from the Walking Dead video game, and hugely popular, extremely popular. And you'll see all the requests I got for how to draw her. And this is just a little sketch, tiny sketch I did of her face. But, another advice here, before you do any kind of finished drawing, always do little sketches in your sketchbook, just rough things, because you can see, what's crazy is, this is nowhere near a final product, but all I did was just shoot maybe like 2 minutes or whatever, and I just got a basic form, and it kind of has her character, her little hair, her hat, but it just barely looks like her. And all I did was look at images of her for about 10 minutes or so and just let it sink in. And as you get better as an artist and as you observe more and more, you'll get better at doing things. And that's what I want this channel to be about. I've got from anime to Marvel comic style to cartoons. It's all about training all of you to see and to observe and to constantly understand what makes a drawing, so that way you can draw whatever you want. And that's really what I'm trying to stress with the channel, that you truly can draw whatever you put your mind to by using these same ways of observing. So let's get started with her, and thanks again all the fans, and let's do this. Thank you everyone, I'm very happy. Okay, so basically I'm going to do my own kind of style. I'm going to stick with the cel shaded look from the series, and I found an amazing image of her face. She just looks, it's really a good image. I'm going to try to make it messy. So I'm using a V pencil, and there's so many ways to start when you're drawing faces, Oh no, I hope I'm not getting infected. There's so many ways. I love this series, by the way, Walking Dead. I've only been on season 2 though. I'm so far behind, but I loved what I saw. Very intense. Well, getting back to, there's so many ways to draw a face. Some people draw a circle and then they'll add the lower jaw, like I showed in this drawing. Some people draw a circle, then add a lower jaw like that. Or other people just draw an oval, or from the side they'll do like that. So there's many different ways, but when you're doing a portrait, like this is more of a portrait rather than doing a whole figure, like the whole body, you're working on a portrait. And so my opinion is, and you can go your own ways too, but my opinion is when you're doing more of just a face, you want to do basic shapes, proportions, measure, and you want to kind of get an outline, but you don't really want to add a shape, because it's like, imagine doing a realistic portrait. There's a different way to kind of approach it. So I hope that makes sense. What all I'm going to do is just mark lines. Let's start with the nose here. So many different ways to approach this. Let me make it a little lower, that's the thing. Actually, I think I'm going to start with the outline. I normally don't do an outline, but with this kind of thing. And for her face, very subtle curves. You can see how it just curves, and like I said, I'm just focusing on the face. Normally I do half the body or different things, but for this character I want to just focus on the face. So all I'm doing is a simple little U shape, really nothing fancy, and the neck will come off here somewhere. Notice how the U towards the end gets a little slimmer. So many ways you can go about it. I'm taking the way that works for me, the way that I can visually see it the best. And like I said, it's not going to be every line for line. I'm just marking like an ear shape will be there, and then usually about the top of the ear you can have eyebrow line of the eye. Depends what angle the head's tilted, and then another little ear. But see, all I'm doing is keeping it rough. But look how sketchy it is. That's what I want you guys to please practice on. Practice on sketchy. Oh, I love it. Every time I do this, every time I take a sketchier approach, I just have so much fun because I'm not worried about precise, crisp lines. All I'm worried about is getting little forms down. See what I'm doing here? It's like you're doing basically I guess it's called a bust. You're doing like the head and the shoulders. But look, all I'm doing is outline here. And notice her head is big because she's a child. So you don't want her shoulders to be like huge, like Thor to God Thunder. You don't want her to be huge. You want her to be kind of slim because remember, like I said, she is a kid and younger. And normally the head is also bigger. But the top of the head where you see the cap, I'm just going to mark an area. But remember, about halfway or so is the eyes. You just want to play around with the proportions. And not every proportion's the same. I mean, they have their similarities, but remember, proportions is what makes a character a certain character. I mean, you know, her nose is kind of a little lower, so her nose might fall about almost right there. Almost see where the ear mark is. It's a little below that. But look, all I'm doing is making simple little marks. Her lips fall about here. And you know, just like a normal portrait you do, little marks, little areas just to do it. But notice I'm keeping a line there. This line is crucial because this is kind of the area where the eyes are going to set in. So I'm kind of marking that off. I'm going to set it look like camera. Like I said, proportions they're crucial. You know, depending on how big someone's nose is, if it's a little lower, you know, that's what you make characters out of. That's what you do characters and things. Then basically, I'm gonna make the eyebrow. Her eyebrow starts right where the ear is. And like I said, it is more of a portrait. This is the closest thing to a portrait I've probably done on the channel. I mean, I've done other portraits, but I wasn't happy at all. But just make a line, and it kind of curves up and it gets slender. But just keep a simple line. But once again, to reiterate, look how the lines are nothing crisp right now, nothing clean. It's very, you know, it's very sketchy, and that's what you want an initial drawing to be. You want to, the best advice is think of your marking landmarks. You're plotting spots where you want lines to go, and that's all I'm doing right now. I'm just plotting proportions, lines where I want the shapes to be, and this here I'm going to mark so it's not that close to that eyebrow. But all I'm doing here is real sketchy, and the eyes are a big feature because the eyes are fairly big. I'm going to mark the top of the eye, and with the bottom, notice that the eyes sit about right here. They sit, see where the ear is? They sit within that ear. And you're going to see as soon as we start getting the basic eye, as soon as we get the nose and all that, that's when the figure. And a lot of people, by the way, they don't recommend drawing outlines, and that's something I'm against too. For example, what I'm doing now, I'm kind of making an outline of the eye. Generally, you kind of don't want to get used to doing outlines, because when you get used to outlines, you get in a bad habit. You know, that's something I did when I was younger. I get in a bad habit of drawing everything like a cartoon. In other words, you know, where everything has an outline. And, you know, traditionally, as an artist, to really improve, you want to, you know, this is where it gets very tricky. And this just comes with experience and practice. But as an artist, you know, you want to learn when to emphasize lines and when not to emphasize lines. And like for the eyes, once I get the eyes where I like them, I'm going to emphasize those lines because she's got a dark outline because it's cel shaded. But that's the thing, you don't, like for the jaw here, you don't want to you don't want to make everything like a cartoon Bugs Bunny type thing where it's all outlines. You want to get used to, even when you do like portraits of people, I'll try to maybe show an example of an image, but you want to emphasize lines you feel like helps with the artistic purpose, what emphasizes it, that makes it stand out. Just, you know, you'll get used to it by eye, and that's just a little tip. But the nose is wide. She's got a wide nose. And these are the big key features to remember whenever doing portraits. Eyes, you know, the basics. Eyes, nose, even lips to a degree, but mainly eyes. Eyebrows is huge, and a nose. And something I've been stressing, I haven't really said this in a video, but see how this nose, this is a huge thing, curves. I mentioned this in post I put online and stuff. Oh my gosh, let me move this over a little here. I mentioned on post I put observe, observe, observe. The biggest thing you can do with drawing, I mean honestly, like I really do believe 60% is practice. Practice with your hand. But I really do feel like 40%, even maybe 50%, if you want to improve, I really do feel observing is a huge thing. What I mean is just go on Pinterest right now. Look at DeviantArt. I'm spinning all over it today for some reason. I guess I'm just excited. Look at DeviantArt. Look at Sketchworks and take note of way, lines, curves, proportions. Just take mental notes and you really will improve. I've helped me a lot by just studying people on YouTube. It's helped immensely. Back to the main point though, the reason is because see this little curve on her nose? Take note of the way this curves and look how it curves. All it does is a nice little curve up, almost like a little smiley face. See that? That one little feature really makes the nose, and then the nose is in shadow and it comes down. It's got this little shape below it. And this is very important. You want to make sure you get the nose as close to possible because that's a big feature of her. I'm going to go back and darken in lines. And another thing, jump around when you're doing a drawing. A lot of artists, or not a lot of artists, but a lot of people who are starting, they will tend to stay focused in one area. Like they'll work the nose, like they'll finish the nose and get it final, then they'll leave out the lips and the rest. That's very important to avoid because you want to jump around. Like right now I'm going to leave the nose kind of there and go to the lips. And the reason is this is so huge, baby! All of these tips are so huge, and a huge reason is because as soon as I put the lips in, the nose might look wrong, or vice versa with the eyes. Say if I didn't have the eyes in now, then the nose might look completely off. And it's the same for everything. That's why if you notice like artists on here, Psychra and just I paint girls, I draw girls, he's another amazing one I follow. They always bounce around most of the time, and that's one of the reasons is because when you bounce around, you get a better idea of where the shapes go, and you just get an overall better feel of things. And there's the cap. Now I'm just sketching where the cap's gonna fall. I'm not really gonna, I don't have time to draw I might draw the cap just roughly and then finish it, but I want to get the face in. But anyway, the lips, the top lip, very skinny line. Please let me know in the comments if all this makes sense. Notice that I'm making the lip just arch a little downward because she has that look of like fear, you know, she's in a distressful situation. And the image I'm looking at, she actually has blood. And I might add blood on her face just depending if I kind of have the time. But see how her lips are? The bottom lip is bigger. So now we got the main features. Let's kind of start this. Let's bring this baby home. Let's start fleshing it out and doing things. But see the bridge of the nose? I love this style from the game. And see how it's starting to flow? Now I can work on darker lines. I can work on the hair and things. And from this image, you don't see the hair. If you want, you can probably make her little hair come out over in this area. Just something. Just whatever you feel. Trying to think of. I don't really like that coming out. I'm just going to leave it with the thing. If you aren't, you can. So let's finish up. I'm going to darken a lot of the main features here. The eyes. Very crucial with the eyes. You know, you have the pupil and the iris. Notice how our eyes just kind of go. I'm going to make it lots of lines. I want it to look dark, and I don't want my lines to be as crisp and clear as I've been drawing my other things. I want it to add a little emphasis, you know, just to the character. And that's something you always want to emphasize, because the character, I mean, this is what my channel's all about, is character drawings and things. But you want to, remember, you want to exaggerate features of what, you know, raw emotion. You want to capture the emotion of the character, what they're experiencing, if they're goofy, if they're funny. And that's what makes drawing, to me, in my opinion, so fascinating, is because it's like there's just so much you can do. You can emphasize line, you can put color, just It really is amazing to me, and I just love it. You know, like I said, you could having different color, different lines, different texture, shading, all of it affects the character, the mood the character's in, and it just amazes me to see that, and it amazes me even more to create something like that. I mean, that's what I love, and the more you do it, you know, the better you get, and honestly, the more you improve, the more you want to draw, because as you improve, you're learning and you're actually doing things that you're happy about. Like I honestly say with the channel, even though I started maybe a little over a year ago, you know, my first video, I can honestly say I wasn't happy with a lot of the first beginning videos, because, you know, I wasn't comfortable drawing. There was just a lot that I had to improve on and things, and so the first ones I wasn't happy. I was still learning as an artist. I'm still learning now, but you know, those first ones I needed so much more improvement. And so the point I'm getting at is, it's not until maybe about the last 30 or so videos that I truly am happy with the finished results. I just feel good. I just enjoy doing it and teaching. But anyway, getting back to the drawing here, see the nostrils, you want to make sure they're dark. You know, that's something a lot of times when you draw female characters, you know, people avoid. They don't want to draw nostrils, and that is true, because depending on the character, but with her, that is part of her face. You know, that is a very defining feature, and once we have the rest of the shadow, you see what I mean here. But yeah, it's a big thing. Then the lips, usually lips I do little things. But see how I'm making little subtle lines, see these little tiny strokes I'm doing to pull the lines? I'm kind of making her lip look like she's afraid, feeling a fear. And the bottom lip, the top lip is darker. I'm going to go back and shade it all. Then I'm going to bounce around to the eyebrows. Her eyebrows, towards here, they look like they're almost, at parts, very jagged. There's not really a smooth thing. Let me check here. Let's see how they just kind of end abruptly. This poor girl, man, she's been through a lot. This is why I love drawing. I'm so glad people requested her, because it's a different drawing than I'm used to. But thank you so much for everyone who requested her, because like I said, it is a lot different for what I used to. You know, I haven't done a portrait in a while, especially a portrait that I want to draw. But also the nose right now, it might look a little bit too big, but don't worry about that, because you can always edit those things. You know, usually before I put the final image up, I'll erase, or I'll edit things. I'll erase, clear things off, redo it. I just want you all to get an idea of how to capture those basic shapes. But see what I'm doing now? I'm just doing the eyebrows, and to do that, and the hair coming down. I'll have some hair back in this area. Then for the line, simple, smooth line. I'm making her face a little, her cheeks come out just a little. See how subtle I made it? And this is kind of my own approach, like I said before. This is an amazing tool. I'm going to do a review on it. It's an eraser. But see, I'm just making her cheeks come out just a little, just to show kind of that youthful look. You know, you don't want her to look like she's older, mature. And this ear kind of comes down. You won't see much of the ear because it's in darkness. So you can kind of dark, but just so you know there's an ear there, you kind of want to outline it and things. And keep it sketchy. You want it to look dirty, grimy. It's an intense drawing, but the hair's coming out. I'm going to come in on this side. Same thing on this side, where we did our initial outline. See, I'm just... And someone asked me, how do you do straight lines? Here's showing you right now. To do a straight line or just a curved line that looks clean, you want to pivot your wrist. See, I'm just pivoting. And some people hold it like that. I generally do hold it if I'm drawing my sketchbook. But for this, see, I'm just pivoting the line. And I'm doing slow little lines. So I'm just going slowly line after line over line. So it gives that nice look of the chin. So that's the big thing. And you know, for this ear, just nothing fancy, typical little ear shapes. But oh my gosh, look at the freaking difference from the start of the video, how I was telling you all about. Look at the start, how I showed you that little sketch I did, and look at the difference from this finished thing. And I'm not worried about the inside of the ear, I'm just making it so I can show this kind of looks like an ear. Like I was saying, look at this final drawing compared to the sketch I did, and you can see that's why I emphasize when you're doing rough sketches, it's nothing final. Let's finish this up really. Neck comes down like that, and then neck here. You know, you got the shirt. I'm not going to worry about the rest, but see how this simple shape, it all started with basically one U shape, and look how it's become from that one shape. Like I said, this is the best way, in my opinion, to approach any type of portrait, is to start with a shape that you're familiar with, and remember to work around that shape, make your proportions. So try a lot of different ways and techniques. She's got this little thing around her neck. I'm not spending time on that, but just to show that's hers. You can make it a little skinnier. But notice too how much time, as you get better at drawing, you'll always keep in mind time. In other words, what I mean is, compare this video, it's probably going to be 35 minutes. Compared to the other one I just did, like Jessica Rabbit. Notice Jessica Rabbit. This is, I'm so sorry if I talk too much, but please let me know in the comments if it helps. So I just want to emphasize, I want you to really grasp these drawing principles. But with the Jessica Rabbit one, take notice how long it took to do the face. All I did for the face was an oval, eye, nose, and lips, and that's it. That's it. It was so quick. And the reason is because I was doing a whole body. When you're doing just a portrait, you have to take so much longer. That's something just to keep in mind. It's not going to be as quick and fast as what I did there. So always keep that in mind. Always keep in mind what you're drawing in relation to how long it's going to take, so you can mentally, it's all about mentally preparing yourself for what you're up against. And for this one, I honestly spent hours upon hours. How am I going to do this on camera? And it just hit me today, and I said, I'm just going to take my time, go through as if I was drawing a portrait on a big paper. And so I'm very happy. Then, you know, a couple of hair coming out off this side. Please let me know if everything helps when I talk, because I really want to help you guys out. Let's get the eyes in. Pupils, she's got big pupils. I really don't think I'm going to add a highlight. There's a highlight here. Let's see this, that little highlight. And she's just so distressed. Oh my gosh. You can just see the look in this drawing of distress. And by the way, I love drawing faces. I really enjoy faces a lot. See her little eye. See how that's closing up the drawing now? Like that. And see, I'm just putting value for those eyes. You don't want to overwork things. A little volume where the eye meets the iris. A little pink there. We're going to go back and do all that. But I love doing drawings like this. And then for the cap, I'll do the outline, but if I have time, I'll finish it. I don't want to... See, I'm just doing the outline, kind of nothing fancy, just arches. And there's several different arches to the cap. Notice how these lines, each time I do the line, it kind of curves in a different direction. See how it's not all one direction? One direction. Get it, man? See how it's like that? See, I hope that makes sense. In other words, it's not like a straight up loop. always keep that in mind too. When you study drawings, see how that's like a perfect loop? With this, it almost has these little varying degrees, very subtle, but it makes a big difference in the final drawing. So pay attention to that when you're drawing. I can't tell with the hat. The hat comes back and there's a D on it, I believe. Let me know what the D stands for, please. I just don't know. Let's see these lines. Let me stand back. And the hat. I'm just going to do a quick outline. Let me just check here, make sure the hat. Always got to keep something here. You know, a normal little hat shape. And being that it is over her hair and stuff, you got to make it a little bigger than her head would be. So don't make it like that. But then the front has the white part. And see how I'm just kind of emphasizing that shape. See how big it is? That's important. I'm going to do that last, the hat thing. So really to finish this up, add the value in, that's a huge thing. And I'm going to show you how fun it is to do value. Oh my gosh, I'm having a good time today with this one. Ouch, damn it, I hit my head. So all that's really lacking is value, and I'm going to show you how value makes the picture. I'm just going to erase these lines. I'm still going to keep the messy lines because I want it to look a little messier than my normal kind of style. See the little marks are made like the nose here. And you can see just, the drawing is absolutely amazing because you take away these little guidelines, barely any lines at all, but you remove these subtle lines and look at the difference it's already creating. It's mind blowing. It's kind of creating this image. See what I'm saying? This is why getting rid of those unnecessary lines. You start to see a whole image pop out. So for shading, and then that's about it. Get I highly recommend blending stump tool. You can get them Hobby Lobby. See like this. But real important. Eyes, there's always value on the onset of eyes. Eyes kind of sit back in the head. So I'm just going to come in with the pencil where I feel darker. And you got to think of the surface areas of the eyes. Eyes, study this. Look at your own eyes. Look at people's eyes. They sit a little back further in the head. So there's always shade or value around them. And I can push it if I want, and then around here, and then of course under the cap there's going to be a little value. But also I'm going to make a few little random dirt marks. You know, I don't want it to look pretty. I mean, she's pretty, but in the sense of what she's going through. You know, like I said, she's got blood on her face. I make a little tiny mark above these eyes to emphasize that. Right in here especially it gets dark. And the bridge of the nose, right around here. I recommend for a drawing like this, do squiggly lines to shade it. You don't want to do cross hatching. Cross hatching could work too, but yeah, that's her face. All around here. So I'm just doing a little squiggle, and then I'm going to go back over these lines with this. See, now I'm just blending it in. Make sure you don't really want to have a defined line. You want it to look grim. See how it's turning out now? Just these little lines that they did. All I'll do is add a little value. And you can use what's left on the thing if you want. See the difference? And the eyes are really going to pop out once I go back over it with the eraser. But see how nice it's looking? And really just shade the majority of the face. Most of her face has a kind of, you know, darker color anyway. So you want to keep the highlights, but you also want to shade what's necessary. And oh my gosh. Oh my gosh! Yes! Look at how this looks. And under the lip especially, it's got a little darker area. The bottom of the lip. Especially under the lip. Something you want to avoid while shading. You don't want to have any direct lines. And what I mean is, being that's more of a portrait, like right there, it says there's a little line. You kind of want to get rid of it the best you can. Even if you want, use your finger to blend it better. But you don't want any lines to be exactly like a straight, sharp line, because that'll just ruin it immensely. And honestly, you know, see how much better this looks? And all I do is add that, and oh my gosh, it's just mind-blowing, man. I'm telling you. I love drawing. The eye. See how there's a little darker on the top and it gets lighter towards the end. So play around with the eyes. Say you want to play around with it. I'm going to go back and edit things like I said. Don't forget the ears too. You know, it is a grisly image. It's not something that's going to... So you want a lot of dark lines. A lot of dark emphasis. You know, almost like you're working with charcoal to a degree. Right around here where the hair's coming in. And like I said, this is why I love drawing portraits. It's a completely different monster compared to just doing little characters things. So I'm just darkening the eyebrows. Then you can darken the eyes around here. Different shapes. The nose. Yeah, make these lines brighter. Then finish it up. You're going to have a lot of value under the neck here, where it's pushing in. Make sure you don't do lines, do squigglies. Really push your values. This is a little technique I found that I like doing, is making little circles, because it kind of blends it all in, and you don't have that look. You know how when you do shading with straight lines, you can tell it's been kind of messed around and hatched. And keep going over, even use a darker lead. And really, that's about it, everyone. I'll finish the hat real quick so I can show you how to do the hat. But you know, even if you made it up to the point of getting the nose, eyes, without the shading, you know, I'm really proud of all of you for watching. It means a lot. It really does mean a lot having you all watch and support. So even if you didn't make it up to the final thing, thank you a ton for watching. I really do appreciate it. And really proud of you all for sticking with me. And like I say, it means a lot. I'm just very happy, Ted. We're really grateful. And real quick, just to draw the hat in case you are wondering, I gotta find a little image of the hat. I don't know what the D is. It's like a D shape, but it's kind of... What does it stand for? I'm gonna mark here. Is it for DuckTales? Oh man, she's like DuckTales? This is kind of curves like this. So it just curves. I'm having trouble understanding what it is though. So I just sketched it in. Nothing fancy. I just basically follow these lines. Notice how towards the top it gets a little bigger. It's just this little simple shape, but I can't, for the love of me, figure out what this could mean. See, at the end it kind of curves in. You don't have to do that, but kind of something like that. Just the D, and then you'll put the value all in. Ultimately, thanks everyone for watching again. It means a lot, and the support is mind-blowing. Don't forget, make these lines crisper, especially your outlines where the hat is. Make those crisper. I'm going to finish a few things up and Keep on drawing, everyone. Thank you, guys.